What's up, guys? My name is Brandon Ball. Welcome back to another Marketing Monday. For those of you that are new to the channel, obviously thank you guys for being here. Every Monday on this channel, I come on and give tips and tricks and hints and things that are going on in the marketing world that you should be aware of. So if you haven't already, would you go ahead and hit the subscribe button? It really would help me out. And then also drop this video a like while you're there. So today we're going to talk about brand identity. The brand identity is going to be your logo, your marketing slogan, and then obviously the name of your business. So that's kind of the three main points of the brand identity, and we're going to dive into each one of them. So if I show you this logo, or if I say I'm loving it, you know what company I'm talking about. You know what brand I'm talking about. That's the identity part. That's the goal is, I mean, McDonald's, if you haven't been living under a rock, McDonald's has, I would venture to say, the strongest brand identity in the world. As far, whether you're in China or whether you're in Europe or Russia or obviously, the United States, if you say I'm loving it, or if you show them the golden arches, you pretty well know, okay, that's McDonald's. It's because they have one of the strongest brand identities in the world. So we're going to use them as an example, and we're also going to use my business, Perpetual Motion, as an example as we break down these two. So the first one, obviously, name. This is going to be your, I don't want to say your easiest one, because it can be difficult. Perpetual Motion for me was difficult. But like McDonald's was just the McDonald's brothers' last name. There was the McDonald's brothers. So when when Ray Kroc bought it and started scaling it, franchising it, he chose to keep the McDonald's name, the McDonald brothers name. So that's kind of how McDonald's came about. There's a lot of brands out there that use a name or some kind of sentimental value to them. But like for me, I didn't want my name to be my brand. I wanted it to be bigger than me, So for me, I chose Perpetual Motion because it encompasses what I wanted. It shows what my lifestyle is and what I want my business to be and how I want to act. The idea behind Perpetual Motion, if you know anything about Perpetual Motion theory, it's that it never stops moving. It is a continuous, this energy goes into this energy, goes into this energy, and it, in life, it actually can't happen. I mean, as far as the theory can't happen, you've got friction, you've got external forces, you've got all these things that prevent perpetual motion from happening. But in business, it doesn't. In my life, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. So, whether it be moving your business forward or your life forward or your relationship or your marriage or whatever, moving that forward, or whether it be moving your physical body, traveling, hiking, exercising, those are all things that you're moving. So that's kind of how I encompass Perpetual Motion, and that's why I chose the name Perpetual Motion. So two very different ways of getting to the same point, but regardless, those are pretty much the only options as far as making a name. It's either going to have some kind of sentimental value or it's going to have a practical sense. So next we're going to talk logo. Again, logo is one of those things that it can vary. I prefer a very simple, clean, very easy to remember logo. The main point about the logo is actually the colors that you use in the logo. So again, McDonald's and Perpetual Motion went two separate ways here. They went with an M because it stands for McDonald's. I went with the circles and the arrows, or the arrows that fit in a circle, because it shows that it's continuous motion. So mine's more practical, theirs is the M. However, the main thing is the colors that you use. And I actually did a video in the past in one of these Marketing Mondays about colors, and my senior thesis was actually on how colors affect the subconscious mind. So I'll link that video in the description below, but basically like McDonald's chose to use the colors red and yellow. Red being it stimulates hunger, and it gets your, I don't know what it is about red, but it actually is scientifically proven to stimulate hunger. That's why you see so many restaurants and candies that are red. Skittles, Kit Kat, McDonald's, Arby's, Wendy's, Frisch's. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on about restaurants that use red because of that reason. So yellow, it's actually the first color the human eye sees in general. If you have a board with yellow and blue and green and red, your eye's gonna catch the yellow first because of the wavelengths. It's just, that's just the science behind it. And then you've got the psychological part about how it makes you feel. Yellow is very happy. Red stimulates hunger. It creates demand. It creates instance. It's like, man, we gotta do it now. Speed, which is it's basically what McDonald's is built on. So your colors are very, very important in that sense. Perpetual motion, if you look at my logo right here, I chose blue and green because blue is trustworthy and calming and like, okay, take a deep breath, we're gonna get through this. And then green stimulates hope and growth and new opportunity. So be very intentional when you choose your colors. Don't just do it because purple's your favorite color and you're like, yeah, let's go with purple. Think about it and be intentional. So that's the logo. Again, very, two different things. They chose the M, I chose more practical, but both serve the same purpose. And the colors are really the most important factor there. So now we get into the slogan, and this is kind of I think it's the most fun. I think it's the most important to your brand identity. It's really what sets you apart from other brands. Everyone has a name. I don't say everyone has a logo, but probably 99% of businesses, 98% of businesses have a logo of some kind. But your slogan is really what makes you different. So again, a couple different ways of doing it. McDonald's chose the fun, they tend to market more towards children. So they chose the fun, energetic, sing-songy, I'm loving it. They wanted to promote that and push that towards children. So, if your kid's singing the I'm loving it jingle in the back seat, chances are you're subconscious, like you don't even realize you're doing it, but all of a sudden you're whipping into McDonald's for a kid's meal. So it worked out really well for them. Whereas with Perpetual Motion, I chose to use the slogan, never stop moving, because it's practical, it makes sense. It's the idea of perpetual motion. It never stops moving, it's continuous. My life, my businesses, I want them to never stop moving. When people call me for consulting, I want them to know that the goal of my session with them is to get their business on track to where it never stops moving. So that's kind of I went, again, more practical, whereas McDonald's went with kind of a sing-songy. Another one that was more practical is Wheaties. Wheaties went with Breakfast of Champions. It's not sing-songy, it's not really targeted to kids. It's just, that's how they marketed their brand. That's how they built their brand identity, is we are the Breakfast of Champions. And they use that in all their things. That's why they put athletes on the boxes. That's why they do the marketing tactics that they do, is based on their slogan and what their brand identity wants to be. So two totally different things there. But again, there's about two options to do either, whether it be your name, your logo, or your slogan. So that's the basic breakdown of the brand identity. Think about yours. If you're thinking about rebranding or starting a business, or maybe like, well, it might be nice to start a business or a side job. Think about what you want that brand identity to be and how you want to be remembered. And that's kind of how we dive into these steps, one by one. So with that, I'm gonna go. I appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, if you have not yet, drop this video a like. If you're interested in watching that video on colors and how it affects the subconscious mind, this is great for not only business owners if you're developing a brand, but also as consumers to be aware of it. You can click right here and I will link that video, and then obviously subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. I will be back next Monday with another Marketing Monday. So Until then, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next week.